Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Big Tech Frenzy. In today's show, we have a couple different companies to talk about. I want to talk about SoFi, potentially Coinbase, Google, which is going to be a big one, PayPal, JP Morgan, that story, OpenAI, if we get around to it, general market information, and actually, surprisingly, potentially Joby. All right, let's jump into it because we have some things to cover and another show actually to get to. So this is not going to be a 2 hour long, conversation. Maybe we can try for 30, 40 minutes if we have to do some Q&A on the back half of that. Make sure that everyone's questions are answered. Things like this. All right. That being said, we got the biggest piece of news that anyone could possibly hope for yesterday, which was Jim Cramer actually saying that SoFi is a buy. Is that good? Is that bad? I mean, that's up to you. I'm not quite a superstitious person. I think the more people that like the stock, the better. Even if the person isn't always right in their historical picks, the Cramer curse has not quite been super effective as of recently. That being said, he's not the only person that has changed their sort of updates on SoFi in general. If we go ahead and see the analyst forecast, there's been a lot of changes in the pricing in the last couple of days because the price has skyrocketed. So in the month of July, we have Terry Ma here going from $12 to $18. We showed that off. They have continuously held up a hold on this company. Where is SoFi here? Regardless of the price of the company, back whenever it was $7, it was a hold. Now at $21, it's still a hold. By the way, congratulations, $21 a share. Unbelievable. That's the first time that we've hit that since November 17th of 2021. 1,332 days ago, we closed a day for the last time at $21 a share. Oh well. We're going to continue to break new records, hopefully, if all things go well. But until then, let's talk about what Wall Street thinks is going to happen. Timothy Switzer increased their price from $9 to $13. That's actually quite interesting because even the most bearish people, Jeffrey Adelson here, $8 to $11, are forcibly increasing their prices because they realize that the company is worth more over time. But back whenever it was $11 and $13 within the last year, no, this company's going to go way down. This is a hard sell. But now the fact that it's run so much, it's going to come all the way down. It's just not going to get into single digits. What this means is that the bottom is working its way up, right? The old, like, what is their names? Baloney and what was his other name? Chia Pet and all these guys are not reaffirming the price. I actually think Chia Pet actually left, but Giovanni Baloney has not reaffirmed his price, has not changed anything. I think he's at $6 a share right now. He's the lowest on all of Wall Street. And even the other investors have changed their price, not to be super bullish, but to increase just slightly. So 9 to 13, 8 to 11, $16 from Reggie Smith, and then a brand new analyst, 5-star analyst with an unbelievable successful record, 71% of their calls, averaging a total return of 23.5%. The 22nd best analyst on Wall Street right now is saying SoFi should be a where is it? It's updating. $21 stock. Beyond the most bullish that this website hasn't even updated yet. So that's the new high on Wall Street, $21 a share. And we're seeing that from a very, very successful analyst. There's also another very successful analyst on here, which is Devin Ryan. Devin Ryan is also the 6th best analyst on Wall Street out of 9,867 Wall Street analysts. He has an unbelievable successful track record, 33% average return. It's absolutely insane. He's covering companies like Coinbase and Dave and Robinhood and SoFi. So, of course, these returns are just impeccable, right? But whenever he's covering a company like SoFi, although it says $17 per share, wherever his name is, 17, I've read the report. This is another thing that ends up happening is you have a posted Wall Street number and then you have a whisper number, right? So a little bit of what they say to their, to their customers, and then a what's potentially might happen in different scenarios that they're not as convinced will actually happen, but are very much within the realm of possibility. So, for example, $17 was what they actually put out. But in his report, he actually says that fair value on SoFi is probably closer to $25 a share in a good macro environment. Okay. So, we could potentially be heading there if we do see rate cuts and a more secure environment for SoFi to continue to loan out. Even if there is uncertainty, uncertainty isn't bad. Okay. So, SoFi's fundamental business can operate as efficiently as it wants to, as long as the uncertainty doesn't come to fruition, right? Uncertainty is just a gray area, right? We don't know what's going to happen, and so we sell because we don't want to hold on to something that we have not high certainty that we're actually going to make a return. So overall, with SoFi's Wall Street community, there's very few bullish analysts right now, especially at a price of $21 plus a share. I think getting into earnings, it's probably right to be a little bit skeptical about their overall performance. But if we could reiterate just one more time, I don't think it hurts to talk about this again. Wall Street is expecting still very low numbers for their Q2 outcome. So it's looking like a smashing double beat this quarter. Okay. If we take a look just really quickly, share screen. Sorry, this freaking. I hate whenever apps just change their UI for absolutely no reason. Like StreamYard has just been made more difficult to understand for zero reason. Like, oh no, we can't type out what this button does anymore. We just have an icon. You have to guess. Okay, let's go over to quarterly. This is all ran by Seeking Alpha, and Seeking Alpha takes all the data from all the Wall Street reports and puts them into a consensus based on how many analysts are actually, looking at this. So if we make this full screen and zoom it in a little bit, what we can end up seeing is that the consensus EPS for Q2 of 2025 is 6 cents. Okay, some say 5, some say 8. So the average is 6, but there are some Wall Street analysts that I actually think are more close to the real outcome, which is probably 7 to 8 cents. Okay. On a revenue side, we have some saying 790 million and others saying 821 million. The difference is $31 million of revenue. It's an absolute boatload. Okay. Revenue estimates of 804 million. I'm actually closer to about 844 million, okay, in my estimates. The next quarter of what people believe might actually be between 820 to 900 million, right? And these are a mix between 13 analysts, 12 analysts. So you're getting a good consensus here. The further you go down, the less analysts that are willing to make bets on that outcome. But you can see as analysts look at this company, they still continue to see it getting more and more bullish on both a bottom and top line. This is both top line, but I mean from a mix of the most bullish to least bullish in the analyst community, they still see this company going up and to the right. And then EPS is not as similar. And previously, we've had one-time adjustments, so it's not like we've actually fallen quarter over quarter in EPS. It's just one-time adjustments for tax benefits because, SoFi was so negative in their earnings for so long. But once again, you're seeing a continuous rise from 5 cents on the low all the way out to December of 2027 to 20 cents. So there's no one suggesting that SoFi is going anywhere but up, but there is a little bit of mixed consensus on how fast we actually get there. So it depends on what type of price you want to put on that. I think a company that you're not trying to swing trade, you're not trying to just bet on a small outcome, those are the most optimal outcomes that you could possibly ask for is a continued increase up and to the right. Okay. If that happens, then that means that even if the stock does have a pullback to $16, $15, you're still holding on to something that in the future will be worth more, right? It's the most beautiful type of company to hold, and one that, as long as they continue to do exactly what they say and overpromise, When do you need to sell, right? Can this be a potential future bank of the world 10 years from now, 15 years, 25 years from now? And what does that do to your portfolio versus the S&P 500 if you were to hold on to one of the fastest growing digital banks of all time? That sounds like a pretty good play for me. I mean, who knows? We need 8 cents a share. I mean, I'm definitely not calling for 8 cents a share, 8 cents a share this quarter. It could definitely happen. There was actually something that was pointed out to me yesterday that my target on um, SoFi might be a little inaccurate because Anthony Noto just said that they've passed to be less than 50% reliant on lending. Okay. But my current prediction actually shows that lending still makes up for a slight majority in overall revenue. Okay. So if what he's saying is true about the future guidance of this company in Q2, assuming that he meant for Q2 and not for the full year of 2025, what this could mean is that either I'm being a little bit too bullish on lending or I'm being way too conservative on financial services and the technology platform. I actually think it's leading more towards me being not bullish enough because I barely adjusted my contribution profit and these sort of things for SoFi. And yet the loan platform business will make up for a larger percentage of the overall share of financial services revenue, which will increase contribution margin. Credit cards and SoFi Invest are still contributing negatively to overall contribution margin, but every quarter it slowly gets better as they're paying off fixed costs. Okay. And then on top of that, obviously, they're just going to continue to get more efficient at what they're doing through SoFi Money having higher deposits per customer, more debit spends, these sort of things that'll increase margins over time because the cost to serve those members stays flat. I don't care whether you're depositing $100 or $10,000, the zeros that are running through their computer, absolutely the same. So, I'm very, very excited about the future of SoFi because everything scales better over time for financial services, especially whenever it's online. No branches, no service, no security, all these different fees that customers historically have had to pay or banks have historically had to pay in order to attract customers and gain their trust. That's not the case at all. Let's go to a little thing right here. And I have not looked at this for years. Okay. So I could be wrong. So let's just do this. I have a personal opinion on what I think the outcome will be, but we'll see. It could definitely prove false. All right. I have not double checked this. Let's go to SoFi here. SoFi on Trustpilot, which people get to review their things both positively and negatively. I was solicited with a great offer and I applied for a lower amount, but still high. Anyway, great. And then maybe not so great, right? Antiquated, old school, blah, 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 blah. And the mix ends up showing up. SoFi overall has an excellent score of 4.3. Now, if we end up going to, let's say, I don't know, JP Morgan, for example. Oh, well, I guess I can't. I got to type it out. Probably doesn't go on ticker symbols. That's not it. They don't have 50. It might be Chase Bank or something. And did I see it there for a sec, actually? I think as I was typing it in. 200 reviews. Bank of America, 2.6 thousand views. This might be theirs. 1.3 times. Wells Fargo probably has more than 500 reviews, no? Maybe not. Some of the fintechs like to promote using... let's go to Robinhood. Let's see where they're at. Robinhood, 4.1 thousand reviews, almost exclusively 5 stars. I wonder what that's about. 5 hours ago, at one point, had my respect and mocked at me. This is a terrible platform. Deposits got blocked. Yeah, it's not so positive for Robinhood. Let's see Chime. Chime, 3.5 stars. Some goods, some bads. All right. Current actually has a higher score than SoFi. here, 5.5 stars. I saw Vero there as well. Oh, sorry. Vero Bank, 4 stars. So SoFi actually places really, really high amongst some of the other fintechs. But if we continue to go through like what is it, Truist? Let's see if they have 1.2 or 1.8 thousand, 1.2 stars. This is usually what you see from the big banks. I don't know if we looked up Citi already. What the heck? Citizens, these are probably not at 6 reviews. That's PNC, though. PNC, 1.3 stars. Bank of America, 1.3 stars. SoFi, 4.3 stars. But this is the thing, right? Is like you want to continuously look back on that from time to time to see, okay, what are people's complaints? Is this a common occurrence? Are all the 1 stars about the exact same process? Like, because that can happen a little bit with Robinhood. Obviously, we know that the customer satisfaction and NPS scores are not as high as SoFi's, but a lot of the complaints always go back to this same event, taking away the buy button, destroying the trust, and people are still frustrated and want those companies to fail. But still, make sure that you are. I'm playing the big banks for earnings. Nice. Keep up with that. Make sure that you are, seeing how that's going. Let's see if there's any things here. He's also sounded very bullish on exceeding the rule of 40. Yeah, we've been exceeding the rule of 40 for an extremely long period of time. SoFi is growing at a 30+% rate, and their EBITDA margin is like 28% or something like this. So we are well exceeding the rule of 40. We're almost getting to a rule of 60, and we probably will pass a rule of 60 this quarter, which is great, For fintech, it seemingly is a common occurrence in this time right now. We're going to exceed the rule of 40 just with revenue growth this quarter. I mean, I hope so. But that is the difference whenever people say, oh, SoFi should be doing what Robinhood's doing. Well, that's not exactly true, right? Robinhood for the last 3 or 4 quarters in a row has been greatly exceeding the rule of 40 with each individual thing. So both their margin and their revenue growth has exceeded the rule of 40 on their own. Okay. Getting to actually above 100% rule of 40, which doesn't happen. I think in Q1, it was 111%, right? So that is sort of the difference. SoFi can put up these 50, 60% rule of 40s, which is still unbelievable. Rule of 40 is a phenomenal feat. Once you're passing that by, an additional 20 plus percentages on top of the 40%, you're doing phenomenally. But if there's another company that's 2.5xing it, it is a different league for sure. Tanner, when are we buying Costco? Shark Ninja and Costco in the portfolio would be a powerful duo. I am a very strictly I'm a Costco member, but please look at the valuation. That's the part that scares me. The growth in Shark Ninja is incredible. To think that the growth of Shark Ninja affects Costco is just not true. I mean, Shark Ninja or Costco is very important to Shark Ninja. Shark Ninja is not important to Costco, although they do have a good relationship. There's always going to be negatives for a company like SoFi or any bank. That small amount is always normal. Yeah, I cannot wait. Also, I see some big bank talk here already. I can't wait to see their earnings. It's going to be a really, really big sign to see if SoFi can continue its rally. If the big banks show off that lending growth is full steam ahead and everything's going well with the big banks, you know that that's actually a good sign for SoFi, not a bad sign. Okay. Is Upstart a good competitor for SoFi? No. They Upstart's a good proxy for personal loans, but they don't really compete. Like Upstart doesn't have any form of a bank or ecosystem or anything along those lines. You can only get a handful of different loans from them, uh, which are all like life event driven loans. So you're not using Upstart on a day to day basis, really. SoFi, you're using for every financial decision in your life. That being said, would I invest in it? Yes. Um, Depends on the valuation that I'm ending up paying. I mean, the idea of having an entire company that is the loan platform business from SoFi, and that's all they do for a large total addressable market, that's a great business, you know? But if you were to say that that company deserves uh, a higher market cap than SoFi, I don't agree with that. One does everything that Upstart does and more. So I think that SoFi will be the bigger business over time. What's your favorite bank stock currently right now? I mean, SoFi. That's funny because JP Morgan just made a couple changes that sunk some of the payment stocks, especially PayPal. PayPal ended up closing like down 5 or 6% today. Um, let's see. Yeah, 5.7% just right at the end of the day. If you look at this, line for the day, let's take a look. What the heck just happened right here? Okay. And the write up from Crossroads was actually pretty good. Now, we're going to talk about this later tonight on the FinTech Friday show, previously known as the SoFi Weekly. But Crossroads, or Roy, did a very nice write up on SoFi. Also, it's his birthday today, so we're gonna give him a big happy birthday later on. But anyway, this is exactly what happened. JP Morgan tells fintechs that they have to pay up for customer data. And PayPal does, to some degree, work with JP Morgan. But in my opinion, it's not going to be a big deal for PayPal and some of the other fintechs. But some people also brought in SoFi's name because they are a fintech, that they go, oh, SoFi is going to have to pay up. SoFi is a bank. Isn't it funny that, like, whenever we're a bank, that like whenever fintechs are going up and SoFi stays still, oh, they're a bank, right? But whenever fintechs are getting attacked and there's regulatory concerns and changes from big banks that punish smaller fintechs, SoFi is a fintech. So SoFi is a bank. I mean, like, they literally are a bank, right? I know people talk about how they should be valued, but SoFi Bank is a fully registered bank, and they won't be dealing with JP Morgan. Customer data stays on their platform. People don't issue, or SoFi's accounts and deposits are not stored on other institutions unless it's through sort of a sweep rate, where to get $3 million of FDIC insurance, SoFi goes out to 12 different banks to store your deposits at all those different companies to make sure that there's essentially 12 accounts to make up for $3 million of FDIC insurance. Is it a good thing if SoFi buys Upstart if possible? I think it could be. It definitely could be. But some of the comments from Anthony Noto about artificial intelligence in the underwriting process makes me think that that's not on their radar at all. I think we're probably closer to purchasing a Plaid or an Apex FinTech or some other form for Galileo. As funny as it is, and everyone talks poorly on the tech platform, I think almost every single M&A deal that SoFi does going forward will be focused on the tech platform, because it's a direct benefactor of SoFi, and also it's the only way that they can get something for the business that applies across every part of it, that hits every angle. But we'll see. Don't they use Plaid for Relay? Yes, they do. That's also why I think that they would acquire them. They understand the importance of them. So Technisys was acquired whenever SoFi was looking at them to port over their technology platform, and Galileo was also acquired whenever SoFi was using them as a technology platform. So they like buying the companies that they've worked with. That's why I say it. They've also worked with Apex FinTech and Plaid. Those are also why I highlighted those two as well. Pagaya might be another one. That is probably closer to getting acquired than an Upstart, for example. But who knows? And what is the market cap on Pagaya? Because that could actually be a really interesting one. $1.7 billion market cap. You'd probably have to put quite a premium on it. $3 billion deal, something like that. Nearly 80% premium. That might end up closing the deal, and then you have a marketplace to sell other loans. And then, maybe the loan platform business is one of the biggest plays, in SoFi's history. This is the great thing about SoFi. It's like, we don't even know what they're working on. They could come out with something that is bigger than anything that they've done in the past, like the loan platform business. It's insane how big it is. And it blows me away every time I look at it. I had a conversation with Chris Patel, or little tweet exchange. That's pretty much it. But I ended up posting, don't worry, guys, it was after hours. Okay. The stock actually, I think, continued to go up after hours, even past this tweet. Yes, it did. Okay. So I posted this at 21:20 and it's at 21:37. So I don't want to hear anything. Okay. This was great. I was allowed to do it. Chris Patel said, the Trump admin going thermonuclear on federally backed student loans is a big positive for one of SoFi's core businesses, private student loans. I should have seen this coming. Now, just trying to determine if SoFi is going to be the dominant player going forward. Universities lowering tuition to counter federal student loan limits is as realistic as the tooth fairy. I mean, I think it will happen to some degree, but yes. This will lead to a lot more borrowing and originations for SoFi. This is why SoFi is up massively, not because they have a tech platform. It's still a bank. I've never once, and he's not saying me, by the way, I know that he's just saying potentially the retail audience is saying this, but no one in the last little bit has suggested that the tech platform is the reason why we're running at all. Okay. It's been big, beautiful bill, good macro, loan platform business deals, the selling of loans like for our loan platform partners. Either way, congrats to all SoFi bulls for holding through the pain. Now, I said, definitely a bank, no doubt. However, they might be able to make more money at higher margins than traditional banks are used to, which hopefully should make them a higher price. I mean, you look at payment processors, the companies that do better like Adyen have higher multiples than traditional legacy payment processors. You look at restaurant management tools and payment processors. Why is Toast so much more expensive? Okay. You can go through the entire list of companies that, car companies, Tesla, retailers, Costco. You can find the winners that don't have valuations anywhere near their peers because they do everything completely differently. SoFi's fully integrated. There's almost no financial institutions that are vertically integrated the way that SoFi is, doing their own payment processing, have their own core and ledger infrastructure, all of these things that differentiate SoFi so much, okay? On the back of this, though, I wanted to highlight talking with Chris Patel, which is why we brought this to this issue. He said, with student loans and their lending standard, I think that this could be very dominant, but their business will be to originate, collateralize, sell, and service. That could be huge. But that's not entirely true. Okay, so SoFi's a bank, right? They have the practices that most banks have, which is that they only have so much money and that they can leverage past how much money they have, but that's limited. They are required by law to keep a certain amount as collateral that is, 1/10 of how much money that they could actually give away. So they can 10x leverage to give out to loans on a risk adjusted basis. Okay. Now, even in this outcome, uh, SoFi can only lend out so much money. It's not enough for the $1+ trillion that is outstanding on student loans. And if I remember correctly, it's like 1.7 trillion. Like, it's a ton. Okay. I could check Fred here in a second and they'll say, but how does SoFi truly dominate the student loan business while still being a bank? How does that happen? The loan platform. This essentially has created them the leverage that they need to have infinite capital. Okay. The growth here is being undervalued even at $21 a share because they're using other people's money, which means they're not limited to any leverage. If you can go and get some massive asset managers like Fortress, like Blue Owl, like all of these customers to give them billions and billions and billions of dollars, this means essentially that SoFi doesn't have to be 10x leveraged. They could be 100x leveraged, 1000x leveraged, and yet they take on zero extra risk for doing that. Okay. What they take is upfront cash for service, which is essentially the amount of cash that you would have done to sell and service the loans. That's what the loan platform does. They originate it and then they sell and service it immediately. They never take on any risk. Okay. Makes sense. Let the scale up begin, especially healthcare professionals, which they are doing. I think people, not that person, but I saw a post. I'll go through it. I don't want to share my screen while I go through it just because there might be some crazy posts in here. But there were a couple showing off that SoFi is actually looking for more healthcare professionals to lend to in these comments, if I do remember correctly. I'll have to see. Maybe I'm mistaken. Okay, I'll try to find it again, but if I don't, no worries. I like how I'm telling you guys it's no worries. Like, that's something that you guys should be saying. Dang, I feel like I saw it like super recently. I thought I knew where I saw it. Maybe it wasn't in this chat. All right, either way, you're not mistaken? Okay, maybe I missed it. Okay. They were asking for doctors and dentists. Yeah, I thought so. $1,000 each for a referral. That's at least what I remember. Will SoFi get into real estate? What exactly do you mean? Because they're into home loans, if that's a form of real estate to you. They offer SoFi Invest products for real estate. How do we want them to get into real estate? Do you think a big bank would still try to acquire SoFi at these prices? Well, it's not at these prices, right? So SoFi, $23 billion. And the answer already is absolutely not, right? If you look at the history of all of these big banks and the companies that are in the banks that they acquire, they like to buy things for pennies on the dollar, right? They're trying to stack assets, not trying to attract the next level of consumer. So they're essentially just big asset management firms now, like almost like a Berkshire Hathaway in a way. They're actually not trying to own the customer, and I actually think that that's going to fade out more and more and more as they're not even going to compete in customers. You see that on the APY that they charge on their checking accounts. I mean, they've just fully given up. It's just a slow bleed till the end. But do I think that a big bank will acquire them? No. I'm sure there'll be regionals and community banks and all of these that will go under during hard times, and that's where the big capital outlaying for those types of businesses will be. I don't think that they'll pay a premium because even at 24 billion, no board of directors is going to accept that at SoFi. So you're going to need to pay 35 billion. Like we're on the way up. Yeah, home loans. Yeah, we're into home loans. SoFi is, I wouldn't say global. We are in Hong Kong in a very small operation in Hong Kong, but that's essentially it. They've had aspirations to get into United Arab Emirates, into Singapore. We know this because they own the domains in all those areas. But, not quite, actually going, or they didn't actually enter those areas. Sorry. Chip Diamond for a Burke A starter pack. Yeah, I'll get my Burke A shares started. For those that don't know what Burke A shares are, these are Berkshire Hathaway Class A shares. I'll show you. They're just a little bit more expensive than $2 a share. They're currently trading at, and you see they've dropped a little bit today. So you can get them actually on a 0.6% discount only for $712,842 per share. So for me, it'll only be $712,840. Chip Diamond ended up saving me on the $2 there. Appreciate you, Chip. Thank you regardless, though. I do appreciate it. Buy new now, buy SoFi tomorrow. Yeah, I am definitely buying new. If someone's shares called away at 14, what position can I get back in? Is someone you? Did someone's shares get called away at 14? I mean, that's completely up to you, my friend. I think that it's whatever you think that the company is worth to you. If you want to try to buy on a dip, buying while it's gone on a 7-day green streak might not be where you purchase it at. But, is there going to be a better time in the future? Are we going to see $14 again? These are not clear for me to answer. I mean, we might not ever see those prices again. And like, if we get a good macro for the next few years, SoFi might gain, over the next few years, 10 million new members. So would we ever get down to those levels ever again? Who knows? Very suspicious smiling. Why are you smiling? Well, it just sounded like it sounded like one of those things where you're like, asking for a friend, but you also kind of worded it in a way that it was definitely you. But who knows? Maybe I'm reading into things. That's the weird thing about text, right? It's much easier to understand my emotion. It's harder for me to understand your guys' emotion because I'm only seeing it through so much level of text. So I apologize if I misread some of your comments. $14 and you'd hear a million trucks backing up? No. Like, that's the thing. Guys, we were just at $11 not too long ago. And you know what? This is what happens every single time. Retail doesn't get excited. They get scared. They call it a bank. They have nothing nice to say about SoFi whenever it does get cut in half. Everyone says that they want to buy companies on a dip. And then whenever the dips happen, they get scared. Right? So this is why it's always like true fundamental and qualitative analysis, and why TA I usually say to just leave, because it doesn't tell you the true quality of a business that you're purchasing and whether you actually think that you are getting a discount. Are you buying Shark Ninja here? I am acquiring Shark Ninja shares, but maybe I wouldn't call it one of my top buys. The amount I'm actually outlaying for Amazon's and Google and Nubank shares. Those are the companies that I'm really liking right now. By the way, I was listening to a podcast with Stephen Fiorillo today, and he said Tanner might be right. I think Nvidia's heading to 200, 220 by the end of the year. And boy, oh boy, does it feel great to have friends like that. Gotta love it. It is funny, right? Like the company continues to go higher. By the way, my covered calls ended up closing, not expired. We went over 165, which means there was not, I don't think there was a 167.5. I don't think that there was another closer contract that I could have written. I seemed like a crazy person writing all the way out to 170, but I think it was the only safe one to do. So that's perfectly fine. Made a little money, and we go right back in, ladies and gentlemen. I might wait a little bit just because it's earnings season. I don't know yet. Maybe I'll go a little bit further out in my pricing, but may as well. There was a 167.5. Dang it. Okay. I could have done a little bit better. All right. George, congratulations on NVIDIA and SoFi. Thank you, George. A member for 25 months. George has been around forever. Thank you so much, my friend. You've been here through the thick and the thin. I'm sure some of my plays like NVIDIA, like SoFi, like so many others have looked terrible through those times. Maybe not so much NVIDIA on the last 25 months, but you know, SoFi has definitely taken quite a beating through that time. So I appreciate you supporting the channel through the thick and thin. That's unbelievable, man. Glad you're here. How much did you make at 170? I honestly can't remember what it was per contract. I'll see. I definitely don't write them too risky. I don't want to roll things out. So the way I look at it is it's just a little extra on top. Oh crap. Give me a sec here. Why is it being fiddly? It doesn't have my password in here. Okay, one sec. Ricardo Libre again. We've got a streak. You're as freaking consistent as SoFi stock going up right now. Are you still in Mercado? I am still in Mercado Libre. Thank you for asking. I'm going to be holding on to it for a long time. There's going to be a lot of comments between then and now. Any comments on Shopify? No. I mean, there might be some tariff concerns. We're a Canadian company. These sort of things will be common. It really is a 100-year company. They're focused on the furthest out commerce plays, whether you're looking at glasses, VR, whatever, you know, the world has into the future. Toby, Lucky, Harley, they're thinking about it on a day-to-day basis. So not worried about this at all. I think the whole world is going to be on Shopify on a commerce level. So yeah, very happy holding onto Shopify, and I can't wait to see what they have into the future. Thoughts on Poet? Sorry if we already spoke on this. I don't look into Poet, but I do have a problem with companies that spend their sales and marketing not on the company, but on the attraction of trying to get people onto the stock, right? What benefit does that have? That would be something that I struggle with. You know, it doesn't make them inherently bad, or it doesn't make the company inherently bad in terms of their financials, but it does give me some level of a moral qualm and think that there might be a little something under the hood that shouldn't be there. So newer SoFi at this moment, I hold so much more SoFi than I do new at this moment. I'm acquiring more new than SoFi at this moment. So I'll let you take from that what you will. Analysts rate Poet as a strong buy with an average 12-month price range of $6.25. Yeah, those analysts bought and paid for. No, Quinn, don't make me buy it. Okay, we've got enough of your crazy speculative picks. Love you, but like, holy, you should see how many names we have in the portfolio now. It's like 40 or something. I think we just hit 40 of different positions, and today was our first down day in the last little bit. So we're still up. This is where we are today. This is not my portfolio. Well, I mean, it is my portfolio. It's my money, all that sort of stuff. But you guys have told me where to put this money, and it's gone into SoFi, ABCL, thanks to Dookie Pie donating a massive amount yesterday. ABCL instantly became our second largest holding. And then ASTS, Lumen, Clove, SBET, which is actually doing phenomenally in our portfolio right now. I think looking at total, SBET is the highest thing in our portfolio, up 29%. Remember, we just started a few days ago. I don't think anything else even comes remotely close. Yeah, this defense drones company as well was very well timed because there was some news. What's his name? Hexeth. What's his first name? Yeah, Dookie Pie is a name of someone in the chat, by the way. Pete Hexeth, thank you so much. I do appreciate that. Sometimes I get a little foggy brain. Pete. Big Pete. Yeah, there were some talks on defense build-outs and trying to really focus on drones, which I do think is important. So if you have a defense name in your portfolio, it's going to do very well. JS, wasn't that your pick? I do really appreciate it. I mean, it's up nearly 7% now. So that was very well timed. Speaking of which, in terms of speculative names that are somehow associated with my name, even though I don't hold it, actually, I think I do in that portfolio, but in my actual portfolio, I don't hold any Joby, but supposedly they just posted new news today. Where is it? Joby unveils hydrogen power autonomous aircraft that recorded a record-breaking 9-hour test flight. Maybe Tevis isn't going to be so angry with me. Stock at $12 a share, year to date up 46%. I'm sorry, Tevis. I'm sorry I gave you a company that's up 46%. My bad. He didn't even buy it. Sorry, bro. Stick to what's he buying these days? I don't even know what he's buying. Tanner, take a look at Aritzia. I used to hold Aritzia back in the day. I haven't in a long time. But is Tevis into UNH? I used to hold Aritzia. That was a very, very fast-growing Canadian name. Tevis is on SoFi now. Yeah, probably still Hims. I don't know. I thought he was a little bit, like backing away from Hims, or maybe I'm still thinking of like, I don't know, other names or something. He's the Weeble guy. No, I'm kidding. Tanner, when are you having Taylor Lauber on the show? I spoke with Taylor whenever I was at the Shift 4 conference and asked about him coming on the show. They said that they would like to do it. And then to be quite honest, I haven't really done anything about that since. So MD33 might be the biggest Shift 4 bull in the entire channel here. Taylor Lauber is now the new CEO of that company. This is Jared Isaacman's original company that he founded all the way back in 99 or whatever it was. But yeah. Are you saying WTF because I dropped the ball on getting him on the show, or that I called you the biggest Chef 4 bull? Because you definitely are. So I'm going to assume maybe the former. We want Taylor. Yeah, I mean, guys, I have extremely cool interviews coming up. Like, I promise you, there are things bubbling up behind the scenes. Nice, nice water bottle. Yeah. Speaking of which, right? Yeah, maybe I should call him. That everything that I see reminds me of him. Sorry, Taylor. I'll send your IR an email. I'll just break it to you guys. It's not Anthony Noto. It's not Anthony Noto. If it's not Anthony Noto, I don't care. They are huge names. Names that I think Roto would actually care about. But maybe you just aren't thinking of them just yet. Sorry, guys. They are very exciting names. No timeline, just in case anything gets pushed or something. But we'll see. You know what's fun about those interviews too is like, from a content creation standpoint, what everyone's hoping for is something that is a little bit evergreen. I just went back because I needed a little bit of information. I watched my history of Anthony Noto video. If you guys saw some posts from me on X recently, I posted old pictures of Anthony Noto, like, him wearing his West Point uniform and everything. Just because I was rewatching a video on him. But that's the kind of content that every content creator wants to make. I want to make things that end up sticking, but news usually, especially the live streams, they last for 2 days and then they go completely flat because who cares about what Joby did last week, But the interviews are very, very great over long periods of time. I still see people talk about my Jared Isaacman conversations, my Vlad Tenev conversations, because whenever people are DDing those companies, they try to find everything about those people, right? So they those things work very well. So I should do more. Taylor Swift. Yeah, I didn't interview Taylor Swift. That would be a fun one, though. Like Taylor Swift's investing strategies. She probably has no idea. Some team is working on, like, one of the largest family offices in America is working for Taylor Swift. Tanner, any idea when you may get Noto or Lapointe on the channel for an interview? Absolutely not. Or not saying it absolutely won't happen, but I have no clue. Or else I would shoot for that. Jensen, Brian Armstrong, Alex Karp, Taylor Swift, Pete Hegseth, Tom Lee, Michael Jackson's ghost, Scotty Barnes, David Velez. You'd get 1 million followers. You know what's actually funny? Because Anthony Noto does have some existing interviews with content creators back in the day. They don't even get that very many views. I think if I were to have interviewed him, and let's say I'm like one of the first to interview him, almost like Amit did with Vlad Tenev back in the day, I mean, at most I'm getting 80,000 views, which is exciting. I mean, I would love that interview, and I want to meet him, right? Like I saw a comment today saying, "Oh, I thought Anthony Noto was kind of like a weird, shy guy," and I'm like, well, I mean, the truth is, I don't know. I've never spoken to him. Like I wouldn't really try to make a bet on what I think who I think someone is until I meet them, like when the cameras aren't rolling and actually get to handshake the person and actually meet them. You know, I've done that with some other people for different companies, like Jared Isaacman, like Taylor Lauber, or Vlad Tenev, or the team at Robinhood, and everyone I've ever met has been very normal, high functioning, like really great people to meet. I'm sure Noto would be the exact same way. I bet at heart, like, this is a football playing Wall Street guy. Like, I bet at heart he's just a bro. He's a little bit older now, but he's an old school bro. I just get that feeling, that the slight feeling. Um, Here's some pocket change. Get some Decker. So, guys, for the actual community driven portfolio, I have to limit it to $10 per donation. I already spend like after yesterday's live stream, I spent like an hour going through and updating the portfolio, updating Savvy Trader, updating the Notion. So I have to limit it to some degree. Every $2, $5 donation, I cannot. Yeah, sorry, I apologize. Thank you so much for the donation. If you want it back in some sort of way, I could send it back to you. But yeah, I'm sure you don't care about the $2. But yeah. We would love a Noto interview. I would too. I'd be very excited to talk to him. I have a lot of questions. Dude, we are all human. No one is different. I don't know if that's true. I mean, I think that's a sweet thing to say. I've definitely met people that I think are weird. We're just antisocial, introverted. Like, we are all human, but some people are harder to talk to. I think that's for sure. Anyone else donate for Clover yet? I've got $50, I think, as a cost basis on Clover right now. I think it's actually one of the bigger positions. I don't really want it growing all that much more. I don't know much about it, so I mean, maybe I'm talking out of my rear end here, but that's yeah. No one's donated for Grinder. I also need to talk to the CEO of Savvy Trader. I know him well enough, so if they have some sort of position cap, like, oh, you can only put in 50 names, I'm going to force them to raise the bar specifically on my portfolio. I've already let them know. I said, I've started a community fund and I want your help. If we run into any issues, I'm going to email you and say what I need here. So it'll be great. Wait, does the note? No, absolutely not. So, ladies and gentlemen, in my description, you can see what the rules of the game are. So, if you are going to donate, only donate if you actually want to support the channel. Don't feel like it doesn't lead to any sort of share of the fund or anything like this. It's not a good financial decision. Okay, if you guys do want to support the channel, however, it has to be a minimum of $10. I will buy a fractional share of whatever company that you want that's over $1 billion of market cap. Okay? That's it. I think there's a couple other ones. It can't be any ETFs, no inverse ETFs or leveraged ETFs, these sort of things. No OTC pink sheet type investments. It has to be on American exchanges, these sort of things. That's all. Does Hamid own it? Yes, that's who it is. But not everyone knows who that is. So, community fund, call me. Yeah, it's more like a community-driven portfolio. I'm going to see if you guys can outperform the markets. And I mean, right now we have a big enough, fund to see like if it's going to work. 40 positions is enough to see 41 positions to see if we're going to outperform the markets. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to buy a share or $10 of Poet. Thank you, Quintessi. I do appreciate it. Oh, gosh. Okay. Let me make sure I screenshot that. Not for any stock, but for a cup of that scrappy McDonald's coffee you swill. Thank you, Kevin. I do appreciate that. I think Kevin has contributed to the thing. What's also great, if you go to that link in the description, you can also see what everyone has contributed to. Maybe we'll make a leaderboard, whatever. See who is the best investors, the most differentiated, the people who actually saw the cloves or the poets or whatever. If those names do accelerate, that'll be a special name for certain individuals. JS actually just donated Shark Ninja. We do have a little bit of Shark Ninja, but in my opinion, I do think it needs to grow in terms of allocation. So JS, thank you so much. Let's get back to some market news, however, because Google is changing up the scene right now. Okay. OpenAI was trying to acquire a company called Windsurf. $3 billion deal. This is one of the fastest companies to go from zero to $3 billion in history, okay? Sort of like a Cursor AI competitor. This is a tool that is built on existing LLMs to help write code in things like Visual Studio Basic, okay? So helping coders code stuff onto their apps and websites and everything like this. But with a way of helping write code base, understand what's already existing there, larger context windows, faster speeds for coding. But there's two big names in this space, Cursor and Windsurf. OpenAI thought, hey, what an amazing opportunity this will be if we can take some of the money that we've raised and acquire the full outcome of Windsurf. That deal ended up falling through, but it fell through even harder than Sam Altman could have ever imagined, as the CEO of Windsurf decided to go work for Google now. He's going to be working directly in Varan Mohan here, and the co-founder, Douglas Chen, are going to go work at Google DeepMind. They also brought on some research and development employees. So holy crap, did Google just take all the thunder, all the excitement that everyone had about Windsurf for OpenAI, and took a large percentage of that brain share, not the entire company. They didn't acquire any equity in Windsurf, but a lot of the brain share of that business is now headed over towards Google DeepMind. So, ladies and gentlemen, Google is not out of the picture. It's another reason, another exciting reason why I'm buying this company. And hopefully they continue to take over the space overall. JK Sack, BTBT is not in the $1 billion market cap requirement. They're a $900 million company. Do you have another name that you would like? Thank you for your donation. I do appreciate it. How come the C-suite just jumped ship? I mean, maybe it's moral conflicts. They don't want to work for Sam Altman. Maybe it's to some level Google is starting to do similar offerings to what Meta is doing, really stepping up the pay packages, offering some amazing offerings. That could very much be it. Who knows to the exact extent of how far Google and Mark Zuckerberg and everything is going to push it. But one thing is for certain, Sundar Pichai might be stepping it up if he continues to land amazing talent like that. That's exactly what the CEO should be focused on. At some point, you're not sitting in the office coding and working on code bases. Your full focus in that business is making sure that the large projects are being worked on, and even more importantly, that you're hiring the best talent that is going to further those projects. So this looks like a very, very great win. Congratulations to Google. JK Sachs says, let me think. No problem. Dang, just under. Yeah, let me see. They might have been available before, but not at this time. They might have been over on July 8th. But then we would have been down a lot. So I actually kind of appreciate it to some degree that that didn't happen. Thank you guys, though. I honestly really do appreciate all the love and support over the last little bit. I know SoFi has been running, and that is getting people very excited. And a lot of people are contributing those wins to, people online and everything. But like, I don't know, give yourself some credit. Like I didn't press any buy buttons for you. You guys are the ones that held through, stayed strong in the face of all the bearish information and everything that we saw during those times as well. So, really, congratulations. And I do appreciate the support from the viewers. You don't have to donate or anything along those lines. Just showing up every day, commenting, making this a real community, joining the Discord, these sort of things really has made this like one of the best adventures of my entire life. So, yeah, it makes it even more fun whenever the portfolios are up, but this is honestly a pretty awesome place even whenever things are down low and we're actually buying dips, right? It's fun to hold on the way up, but both have been a pretty good blast, actually. There's only been a handful of a few events in this entire, YouTube journey where I felt like either picking bad stocks had ruined it for me and I felt, very poorly that I had messed up, or that potentially people thought that I was something that I don't think I am, and that that can be a mental headache for sure. Like whenever you have all your picks and everything, not only just like spoken out loud, but also documented, and a ton of people are following it, and there's a good group of people that want you to be wrong, so then they can say, I don't know, something poor about you later on. That can be mentally stressful sometimes, but moments like this when SoFi's hitting all-time highs and everyone in the Discord's posting, them hitting 5-figure milestones, 6-figure milestones, 7-figure milestones, it is the most rewarding thing. So it's freaking awesome. What percentage of your portfolio is in cash? Do you plan on growing that or keeping it the same? I'm keeping it roughly the same. It was growing for a little bit, but now it's roughly about 2%. So going to keep it there for the most part. Getting too emotional. Let's buy Grinder. Okay. Thank you, Kevin. I do appreciate that. Let's hope it outperforms the market. You know what I was thinking about, though? We might have to have some stream later on in the future where we do decide to have some sort of portfolio rebalancing or something. Because if this does get to a point where we have like 500 names, we are just going to end up copying what the market is doing. And maybe what I've noticed about a lot of people's buys as well, especially from the retail community, is that I'm actually not seeing a lot of Amazon orders, Google orders, NVIDIA orders, which is like the things that I'm buying. But really, a lot of the conviction has been on these tiny $1 billion names, $2 billion names, stuff like this, all the way up to about like 50 billion or so. But with that, I think we'll probably track more closely to like a IWM type situation, Russell 2000, smaller names. But at what point does this simply become an index rather than compare to an index? I bought Google last week. I think, I think Google is in the portfolio, but comparatively to some, like ABCL is the second biggest position. You know what I mean? Like it is speculative in nature for sure. HAS. HAS. Am I crazy? Oh, Hasbro. Got you. All right. I don't mind Hasbro. We'll see how you know what we should start doing? You know the drill. Mercado Libre. There we go. Another pick that I really want in the portfolio. Mercado Libre. Thank you guys so much. But this should become a thing too. I'm actually going to start. I'm going to put this in the rules. Now, obviously, it doesn't have to be said, but if someone does donate and they want to add to a position or add a new position to the portfolio, tell me why. Because I kind of want to know. Like some people have donated and said, "Oh, this is the future of drone tech" or something. Why Hasbro? What's coming up with Hasbro that you're getting excited for? That would be very interesting. ABCL has 100x potential. Yeah, every single biotech and everything that are like tiny healthcare names have 100x, 1000x potential. They also have a chance to lose 100% of the entire portfolio. Like, you know what I mean? SoFi's the biggest. Yeah, I mean, I hope so, right? If at some point it doesn't, I don't know where I failed you guys. I mean, I wouldn't mind if Nvidia got to the top spot either, or some of these other names, but I assume based on the content that I create that SoFi is going to stay up there for sure. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Now, continuing on that, let's see what else there is. We talked about the SoFi analysts actually reiterating their positions. We saw, all the analyst predictions. TD's new analyst that came on, one of the smartest analysts in the market, putting a $21 price target on SoFi. I have not seen that full report, so it might actually be more bullish, less bullish. I'm not sure. I'll have to read through it. SoFi actually updated a very, very large post on what was almost their state of student loans. I have not fully read through that, but I'll probably make a video update on that or something along those lines. There was quite the report that we ended up talking about with PayPal and JP Morgan for fintechs having to pay up to JP Morgan. SoFi is not going to be a part of that. They are a bank. So finally something happens where banks are actually being rewarded and fintechs are being punished. Joby unveils a hydrogen-powered autonomous aircraft. This was a part that we actually didn't talk about. These two pieces were phenomenal, okay? I'm very bullish, as you guys know, on NVIDIA. I don't think that today is the highest. I think we're going to continue to go higher. So while I am writing covered calls, I'm still being very cautious that I do believe that 170, 180, 190, 200, all these milestones are going to be continuously hit, okay? This is not the first $4 billion or $4 trillion company, and then this stops. I think that this is this will be the first $5 trillion company that also gets hit. I'll gladly add more to Hood when it legitimately breaches 100. Then 120 is on the deck, and likely quickly. Kevin, thank you so much. Definitely up my alley. So I don't mind a little Hood in the portfolio. I do appreciate that. Thank you, my friend. I had to roll my NVIDIA covered calls today. What was your price? 165? I just picked 170 for July 11th, so luckily we didn't get there. Kevin, thank you, my friend. We'll have to go through the leaderboard because I think Kevin's contributed a few names to see how they've done. Just had to roll 167.5. So your expiry wasn't today then? It was later, I assume. All right. Shay just recently updated that Google is now writing over 50% of all of their code base, new code, is going through artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is writing 50% of their code. Absolutely insane. Another amazing milestone. So this is very exciting. And then the other day, we also saw Grok 4 come out. Look at this milestone, ladies and gentlemen. As we continue to push, we saw the other day someone was talking about, oh, different companies are showing off, oh, they're all saying that they're the best at AI. Who is actually the best? Is it all, just sentiment driven or something along these lines? No, it's actually real statistics that continue to hit higher and higher benchmarks. So they are doing real testing here. And what we end up seeing is how all of these, different models are actually achieving here. So Grok is showing off some pretty unbelievable things, and OpenAI as well is doing very well in different tests also. But they do continue to get higher and higher, and I do think there comes a day where what Elon said, that AI is actually going to find new or solve problems that have never been solved in history. That could be a very real thing. Whether it's physics problems, Vlad Tenev has a startup in like super intelligence for mathematics. Potentially, this solves problems that humans, even the great Terence Tao, couldn't even solve during his time, which is still his time today. But MU Micron, wow, BTech, thank you, my friend. BTech's got his own portfolio within this portfolio, essentially. Kind of shows you his trading styles, which is one that I actually really align with. I don't mind Micron at all. Very, very happy to add that. No Shopify? Shake my head. Shop, please. And Rayhart donated in Canadian dollars. This is a real Canadian patriot right here. Canadian dollars to buy the biggest Canadian name and actually one of the largest holdings in my entire portfolio. Bigger than SoFi, actually. So that goes to show you something as well. Do I have any insight on Nvidia? No. I mean, aside from the deal that they did with NVIDIA, Navitas is not something that I actually actively look into. They're just so freaking tiny. That's the only problem. Tanner, since Goog did not make a car, how difficult is it? Sorry, since Goog does not make a car, how difficult is it to add Waymo to vehicles? Well, they do find, I mean, pretty easily, but they are partnering with companies to both install those like Magna and partnering with the actual companies like Zeekr and Jaguar to get large orders of those vehicles at cheaper and cheaper costs. So, they are going quite quickly. They'll have, thousands and thousands of cars, and they want to ramp up even faster on how they deploy them. JS24 NVIDIA, like you said, their GPUs are the fast twitch muscle fibers. When you need them, you need them. No ASICs can replace. Completely agree. It's funny how you say a quote and then people, like, I've completely forgot it, but sometimes it sticks in people's heads, and that's the way that they process that information. And for me, those are other people's quotes, and yeah. But essentially, all I said was that CPUs are like slow twitch fibers, and GPUs are fast twitch fibers. But it really does make sense in that way if you think about it. Is there a link so we can view the portfolio, the community fund, or no link? Ladies and gentlemen, the description. Okay. If you go into the video that's up, it should say like track future investing's community fund, and then you can click that. It'll bring you to the website, and then you can go to Savvy Trader, which will be in that as well. It'll say track the portfolio live. You can click that, and then it brings you to the fund, like how it's doing over long periods of time. So I think it's futureinvesting.pro/portfolio. It just brings you to this page right here. It's just a Notion page. And And then this green line here will bring you to Savvy Trader. So once you click it, my thing's only streaming per tab, but then you'll see this, which will have all new names now, which they get added right after this live stream. Although after this live stream, I'm going to go do, what's it called? The FinTech Friday show, which is actually in 10 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. So we can just jump right from this to my next live stream. And we'll have a bunch of guests on. We can talk about things. We don't always agree, so it's not confirmation bias galore. To some degree, that might happen for SoFi. If Steve ends up showing up, or Roy hasn't always been, positive on SoFi. So we get to hear some conflicting beliefs. BlackBerry, that's BB, right? What's their market cap at? 2.4 billion. What a way they've gone. Crazy. My ear says BlackBerry stock involved in enterprise software, cybersecurity, Internet of Things, bullish sentiment driven by its dominant QNX software in the auto sector, growing cybersecurity business, and its Ivory platform. Honestly, guys, going forward, this should be every single post. Say what the company that you believe in. Let me know what's going on. I think that's very interesting. Thank you, my ear. I do appreciate that. BlackBerry will be added to the portfolio. A bunch of guests on, regular crew. Well, I don't know if you guys have seen, but the average view count of these live streams recently has been a lot higher than usual. So there's a lot of new SoFi investors that might be new to the company in the last, week. So just letting people know that there are other shows that we also do. And there's other people other than me to try to break up that information and talk about a wider range of different topics. Yeah. That's all. Okay. I tagged you on X with the doctors and dentists thing for SoFi. Let's go take a look, ladies and gentlemen, because I did actually want to see this. You tagged me, did you? You tagged me? When? I don't see anything. I'm sorry, Philip. I don't actually see anything from you or anyone named Philip. Unless this is you. Oh, okay. Sorry. I was looking for a name called Philip. This is you. Sorry. I know Brick Cutter in the community. You've been around for quite a long time. I didn't realize that was Philip in chat. The more you know. But essentially, student loan refinancing, refinance medical student loans, medical student loan refinancing for doctors, dentists, and more. You can see all the benefits. Earn $1,000 per referral. You'll each earn $1,000 bonus when their loan is funded. Flexible rates and terms. By the way, it's a soft inquiry. It won't affect your credit score. Also, BTW. I love that. You know who their audience is. It's clearly a much younger audience that they can just put little abbreviations in it. What better way to get to know our 51st state member or neighbors? Yeah. How you feeling, Tanner? SoFi, Nvidia's killing it. Yeah, my whole portfolio is killing it. Like day after day, it's been hitting, new market highs to some degree, or sorry, a new portfolio highs. It's been a little bit surreal. Yeah, I don't know. Onward and upward, right? The number's just going to keep growing. Bigger number, better person. I'm kidding, but yeah, it does. It obviously is very, very good. I'm at a high state. And whenever we come down, it's going to suck. But for now, I'm enjoying it. Not selling a thing either. Yeah. Why should I not go full degen on SoFi leaps? SoFi's pretty high in terms of its stock price. I think that it could go higher, but you might also get a better time, a furthered out leap, like longer dated leaps later on at lower prices than we are today for you to get a better spread in a way. So as George said it here, he's been around for 25 months in this channel. Not now. I think that's well said. Sometimes I use very many words when few are needed. Payush says, PepsiCo trading at 52-week low, and everyone loves a cold Pepsi in a hot summertime. I mean, not much to argue against that. The only thing that I'll add, and Payush, I'm not going to go against what you said here. I mean, obviously, we'll still put it in the portfolio, and you could absolutely be right. But what I've noticed, and I'm going to stick to this, is that there is a massive, I think that there's a massive health kick right now. You're seeing it in gym rates that more people are going to the gym more often. I do see other articles coming out about child obesity being at highest rates and the highest rates in America, these sort of things. But it seems to be a separation between people that are taking health so unbelievably seriously and other people that are not taking that as seriously and falling behind and falling into food addictions and these sort of things that can be unhealthy. So Pepsi is trying to like Clutch here is saying, they're a lot more than soda. If I remember correctly, they even own a bunch of restaurant brands and stuff. But soda's the main thing. I mean, they're called Pepsi. It still makes up for a large bulk of their revenue. I know that they're acquiring businesses or other beverage brands that are more health conscious. Even who acquired Poppy? Was that Pepsi? Parent company. Yeah, Pepsi. Pepsi acquired Poppy, which I think is more on the health conscious sodas that were available recently. But I'm very much on the trend of a healthier brand. Like even Celsius, unbelievable. I think that's such. I don't necessarily think that the stock is a great pick, but like literally, I bought another case of Celsius today from Costco because caffeine's not going away. Caffeine's not the addiction that people are trying to get away from, but sugar is. I do believe that. I don't own Oscar. No. Well, I do in the community fund. Someone has donated Oscar, but not in my portfolio. I don't know a single thing about Oscar. I know a lot of people are very interested in the healthcare space. I find it a very complex. The time to the actual reward is not worth it to me. Ladies and gentlemen, okay. Chad Ritter right here says, don't be late. Ladies and gentlemen, in 1 minute, I must switch over to my new live stream. So I'm going to let you guys go here. Thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate your time. But if you want to go down below or subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when I go live next. I'm going to switch over to the FinTech Friday right now. Thank you all so much for watching. Really do appreciate your time. But bye for now.